Energy doesn't die when you stop decorating. It just waits, quietly, for how you choose to live. After you've cleaned, balanced, and brightened your kitchen, there's still one final secret the ancient masters whispered. A beautiful space means nothing if you don't live beautifully inside it. So tonight, we step into the final chapter. Not about walls or stoves, but about rhythm, breath, and the rituals that keep your kitchen and your fortune alive. Because true Feng Shui isn't a design. It's a daily dance with energy, one quiet, loving act at a time. Have you ever noticed how some homes just feel rich? Not because of the marble countertops or gold faucets, but because there's something in the air, a sense of warmth, comfort, and peace. And most of the time, that feeling begins right in the kitchen. Let me tell you a story. 3 years ago, there was a woman named Martha, a retired teacher living in Seattle. She had spent her entire life teaching others about balance and patience, yet somehow, her own life had fallen out of balance. Her savings were shrinking, her energy low, and her home, though beautiful, felt strangely heavy. She didn't believe in Feng Shui. She thought it was just another Eastern superstition. But one rainy afternoon, her friend, a gentle woman from Taiwan, visited and quietly said, "Martha, your kitchen, it feels asleep." That single sentence changed everything. Martha's kitchen was modern, stainless steel appliances, white walls, bright ceiling lights, perfectly organized, perfectly sterile. But what her friend saw wasn't the design. It was the energy, or rather, the lack of it. The stove sat directly in front of the back door, symbolizing money entering, then leaving. The fridge and sink faced each other, creating the ancient clash of water and fire. And the space felt cold, too white, too clean, too lifeless. Her friend smiled and said softly, "You don't need to rebuild anything. You just need to wake it up." Over the next week, they made small changes. She moved her stove a few feet to the side, added a bowl of oranges on the counter, placed a small bamboo plant near the window, and every morning, she lit a single candle before cooking her breakfast, just to remind herself of warmth, gratitude, and life. At first, it felt silly. But within a month, something subtle began to shift. Her home felt more alive. She started cooking again, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Her appetite returned. Her sleep improved. And most unexpectedly, so did her finances. Her small online tutoring business suddenly attracted more students than she could handle. Coincidence? Maybe. But in Feng Shui, there's no such thing as coincidence, only alignment. The story of Martha isn't about luck. It's about energy, the invisible pulse that moves through every home, every space, every person. In Feng Shui, the kitchen is called the heart of abundance. It represents fire, the source of life, warmth, and nourishment. When that fire burns steady, the family thrives. When it flickers or fades, life becomes unstable, money slips away, health declines, and relationships cool off. That's why ancient masters often said, "Show me your kitchen, and I'll tell you your future." Because your kitchen reveals more than your cooking habits. It mirrors your relationship with nourishment, gratitude, and prosperity. Think about it. How do you feel when you walk into your kitchen right now? Is it warm, inviting, alive? Or is it cluttered, dim, cold, maybe even a little forgotten? In Feng Shui, every corner of your home holds a story. But the kitchen, the place of fire, holds the story of your wealth. Modern science, interestingly, agrees. Psychologists call it environmental priming. Your surroundings silently influence your thoughts, your habits, and your emotions. A well-lit, comforting kitchen inspires healthier eating, clearer thinking, and more creative energy. A cold, chaotic one drains willpower and even confidence. So when Feng Shui says, a calm kitchen brings wealth, it's not magic. It's neuroscience meeting ancient wisdom. When Martha lit that candle every morning, she wasn't performing a ritual. She was reminding herself that abundance begins with awareness. Her kitchen became her mirror. And when she shifted that space, she shifted her story. That's the hidden truth behind Feng Shui. It's not about moving furniture. It's about moving energy. And energy begins where you prepare your food. Where warmth becomes nourishment, and nourishment becomes life. So today, I invite you to pause for a moment. Go to your kitchen. Stand by the stove, feel the surface, the light, the air. Ask yourself, is this space helping me grow, or holding me back? Because once you awaken your kitchen, you awaken your fortune. After Martha lit that first candle, something remarkable happened. Her kitchen no longer felt asleep. The air began to move differently, softer, lighter, as if invisible hands were sweeping the heaviness away. And that's exactly where the second secret begins. The flow of energy. In Feng Shui, energy, or qi, is like breath. You can't see it, but you can always feel it. A healthy home breathes naturally, air moves smoothly, light spreads evenly, and every corner feels alive. But when qi gets blocked, life begins to feel stuck, projects stall, money slows, relationships strain. Nowhere is this more obvious than in the kitchen. The heart of fire and transformation. Wind faced the first flow mistake, the front door leak. One of the most common layouts in American homes is the open concept kitchen, beautiful, spacious, and filled with light. But there's a hidden danger. The stove or kitchen island often faces directly toward the front door. In Feng Shui, that's like putting your bank account in front of a strong wind. Money comes in and rushes right back out. Imagine this. You work hard, you earn well, but somehow, the bills keep piling up. You save $1,000, and next week, a car repair, a medical bill, a sudden expense, it's gone. That's not bad luck. It's leaking qi. Real story. A couple in Austin, Texas, both engineers, once told me, "We make 6 figures, but we're always broke." Their home was stunning, but when I visited, the stove was perfectly aligned with the front door. You could literally see the flame the moment you stepped inside. I asked them to install a tall plant between the door and kitchen, and to hang a soft, warm-toned curtain that broke the line of sight. No magic, no superstition, just redirecting the flow. 3 months later, they called back. "We didn't win the lottery, but for the first time in years, we actually saved money." Sometimes, that's all it takes, a small shift that keeps your energy from running away. Cyclone the second flow mistake. Cluttered corridors. In many homes, the kitchen becomes the catch-all zone. Mail piles up on the counter. Chargers, sunglasses, kids' homework, all end up near the stove. To the eye, it's just clutter. But to qi, it's a traffic jam. When energy can't move, creativity can't move either. That's why people who live with constant clutter often feel mentally foggy or financially stuck. In Feng Shui, every object either attracts or blocks life force. The cleaner the path, the clearer the mind. So start small. Choose one surface, maybe your countertop or island, and declare it sacred. Nothing stays there overnight except what nurtures you. A bowl of fruit, a candle, maybe a vase with fresh flowers. It's not just about tidiness. It's a declaration. I make space for abundance. Sun face the third flow mistake, dead corners. Dead energy. Corners are where energy pauses. And in most kitchens, corners hide things we forget, dusty appliances, expired spices, old jars. In Feng Shui, those forgotten spots collect what's called stagnant qi. It's like standing water, it doesn't flow. It breeds heaviness. So once a month, do a corner cleanse. Not as a chore, but as a reset. Wipe, clear, open a window, let air and sunlight fill the space. Psychologically, it tells your brain, I'm releasing what I no longer need. And symbolically, it's the same as releasing old financial burdens, fears, or habits that block prosperity. Balance scale balancing flow in modern homes. Here's something to understand. Feng Shui isn't against modern design. It's about flow, not form. Whether you have a farmhouse kitchen in Montana or a sleek loft kitchen in New York, the rule is the same. Energy should circle gently, not rush or collide. That's why the ancient masters preferred layouts shaped like a gentle curve, not a straight arrow. Because arrows cut, circles connect. So when designing or reorganizing, ask yourself, can I walk through my kitchen without bumping into anything? Do I feel calm, or slightly tense? Your body will always know before your mind does. That's qi speaking. Light bulb, a quick fix for leaky energy. If your stove faces a door or window, don't panic. You don't need to rebuild your kitchen. You can redirect energy in simple, elegant ways. A tall indoor plant near the doorway. A small decorative screen or hanging crystal that diffuses light. Or even a warm rug that anchors the cooking area, symbolically grounding the fire element. These are not just decorations, they're energy breaks. They slow down the flow so abundance can settle instead of escaping. Feather, reflection, and lesson. Here's the truth. Most people think money problems come from the outside, the economy, taxes, inflation. But sometimes, they start at home, with how your space breathes. If your kitchen feels rushed, cold, or chaotic, your energy will mirror it, hurried, scattered, drained. But if it feels balanced and alive, you'll find yourself calmer, more focused, more open to opportunities that were always around you. Because wealth doesn't just knock once. It's always flowing past your door. The question is, are you letting it enter, or letting it escape? In every home, there's an invisible conversation happening. Between fire and water. They live side by side in the kitchen. One gives warmth, the other cools. One transforms raw ingredients into nourishment. The other cleanses, soothes, and restores balance. But when they're placed in conflict, life inside that home begins to reflect the same tension. Fire droplet, the eternal dance of fire and water. In Feng Shui, fire and water are not just elements, they're emotions. Fire is passion, action, creativity, and wealth. Water is intuition, flow, communication, and emotional depth. When they're balanced, You feel inspired yet calm, motivated yet mindful. But when they clash, arguments rise. Sleep becomes restless. Money feels unstable. That's why Feng Shui masters call this balance the marriage of elements. If the kitchen is where energy transforms, then the harmony of fire and water is the key to whether that transformation becomes abundance or burnout. Warning: mistake number 1. Stove and sink face each other. Let's start with the most common layout problem in American homes. The sink and the stove directly facing one another. It looks perfectly practical, easy for cooking and cleaning. But energetically, it's like putting two rivals in a staring contest. Fire wants to rise. Water wants to flow. When they face off, they drain each other's strength. And the effects? You'll often see couples who argue more, feel emotionally tired, or notice their income goes up and suddenly down again. Real story. A woman in Seattle named Hannah wrote to me after watching a Feng Shui video. Her kitchen was beautiful, white marble counters, golden hardware, state-of-the-art appliances. But her sink was directly across from her stove. She said, "My husband and I used to be so in sync. Lately, everything's a debate, bills, chores, even dinner." I told her, "You don't need to remodel your kitchen. You just need to introduce a mediator." She placed a small wooden cutting board between the stove and the sink, a symbol of the wood element, which, according to Feng Shui, harmonizes fire and water. Within weeks, she said the tension began to fade. Not instantly, but gently. Cooking feels lighter again, she wrote. We laugh more. We argue less. That's the quiet magic of harmony. It doesn't shout. It softens. Brick mistake number 2. The fire corner is weak. In classical Feng Shui, every home has a wealth corner. But few realize the fire corner of the kitchen is equally important. If your stove is stuck in a dark, isolated corner, or worse, placed under a window where wind blows out the flame, that's a weak fire corner. Symbolically, it means your inner fire, your drive, your ability to attract prosperity, is flickering. It's no coincidence that people living in homes like this often feel burned out at work, or that their motivation feels unstable. Quick fixes. Keep your stove area well lit, warm golden light, not harsh white. Hang a simple piece of art with warm colors, red, terracotta, or deep orange, to nourish the fire element. Avoid placing your stove next to a refrigerator, sink, or dishwasher. These appliances belong to the water element, and they quietly weaken the fire's vitality. A simple rule of thumb: if it cools or flows, keep it a few feet away from what burns. Mirror mistake number 3. Reflective chaos. In modern American kitchens, stainless steel reigns supreme. But too much metal, especially around stoves and sinks, acts as a mirror that amplifies conflict between fire and water. Metal is a double-edged sword. It organizes but also cuts energy flow. So if your kitchen feels cold or too clean to feel alive, add warmth back with wood, earth, or textile accents. A small wooden spice rack, clay pots or ceramic jars, a linen curtain or a woven basket. They don't just look cozy, they reconnect the elements, reminding fire and water they're part of one whole. Speech balloon: a lesson from psychology. Interestingly, modern neuroscience agrees with ancient Feng Shui wisdom. Studies show that colors and spatial arrangement directly affect our emotional regulation. When red, fire, and blue, water, dominate a room together, people subconsciously feel conflict, their heart rate rises, their breathing shortens. But when warm tones are balanced with natural textures, our nervous system shifts into a state of rest and creativity. That's why balancing fire and water isn't superstition. It's emotional architecture. Your kitchen becomes a reflection of how your inner world negotiates between doing and being, between action and rest, between striving and receiving. Quarter moon when the elements heal. After making small adjustments, moving her stove slightly, softening light, introducing wood between water and fire, Hannah said something that stayed with me. It's strange, we didn't just fix our kitchen. It feels like we fixed our rhythm. And that's the real purpose of Feng Shui, not perfection, but rhythm. When the elements stop fighting, so do we. When they support one another, life starts flowing again, like water feeding fire, and fire warming water. Last time, we talked about how fire and water must learn to coexist, how harmony between them brings peace to the family. But what if I told you, there's another force shaping that harmony? Something invisible, yet it paints every memory we create in our home. That force is light, and its partner in silence is color. Sun face light isn't decoration, it's emotion. Walk into any kitchen in America at 6 a.m. The light is soft, golden, spilling gently across the countertop. You can almost smell the coffee before it brews. That's not just ambiance, that's energy communication. In Feng Shui, light represents yang energy, activity, clarity, prosperity. But the quality of light, whether harsh or gentle, affects how our body and spirit respond. A cold, bluish LED light might make your kitchen feel modern and clean. But over time, it drains warmth. People spend less time there. Meals become mechanical, and conversations fade into silence. On the other hand, warm light, the kind that mimics sunlight or candle glow, encourages connection. It makes food taste richer. And somehow, people linger longer around the table. It's not coincidence, it's the biology of belonging. Light bulb, the science behind Feng Shui. Psychologists at the University of California found that rooms with warmer tones and softer lighting stimulate oxytocin, the same hormone our brains release during affection or trust. Meanwhile, overly bright or sterile lighting spikes cortisol, the stress hormone. So when Feng Shui says, dim the harshness, invite warmth, it's not mysticism, it's neurodesign. Your kitchen light is quietly programming your emotional state. It can tell your mind, you're safe, you can slow down, you belong here. Or it can whisper the opposite. Hurry up, clean faster, leave soon. And guess which one creates lasting wealth energy? Paint palette colors. The silent Feng Shui. Color is the language of your subconscious. In Feng Shui, each hue belongs to an element, and those elements shape how energy flows through space. Let's break down the essentials, the palette of prosperity. Element color range meaning in the kitchen. Fire red, orange, magenta passion, wealth, recognition used moderately on decor, utensils, or art. Earth beige, yellow, terracotta stability, nourishment great for walls or tiles. Metal white, silver, gray precision, clarity perfect for accents or hardware. Water blue, Black flow. Calm. Intuition used gently, avoid dominance. Wood green. Brown growth. Vitality add through plants, cutting boards, or furniture. Now, here's the key insight. Wealthy homes rarely overdo any color. They layer tones the way musicians blend notes, softly, intentionally, with rhythm. House example. The Montecito kitchen. Let's look at a real home in Montecito, California. A couple who turned a dated kitchen into what guests now call the calmest room in the house. Originally, the space was sterile, white cabinets, chrome finishes, and harsh ceiling LEDs. It looked expensive but felt empty. A Feng Shui consultant advised them. Replace the cold lighting with warm recessed bulbs, 2700K. Paint the walls a soft clay beige, earth element to stabilize the fire from the stove. Add olive green bar stools for the wood element, to bridge between fire and water. Introduce a small skylight to allow natural light to breathe into the space. After that, something changed. Guests began staying longer after dinner. Their teenage kids started cooking again, voluntarily. And the couple said they noticed fewer arguments. And strangely, even fewer financial worries. It's like the kitchen stopped feeling like a workplace. They said, it started feeling like home. That's the hidden wealth Feng Shui talks about. Not just dollars, but the energy that keeps them flowing. Warning: common mistakes Americans make. 1. Overusing white and gray. It feels minimalist, but too much metal element cuts emotional warmth. Remedy: add wood tones or warm accent lighting. 2. Harsh downlights above the stove. They cause glare and create agitation, symbolically, fire attacking fire. Remedy: use indirect or diffused lighting. 3. Ignoring the evening mood. Many homes look great in daylight but turn emotionally cold at night. Remedy: use layered lighting, under cabinet warm strips, candles, or wall sconces to create intimacy. Rainbow: a quick Feng Shui exercise. Tonight, stand in your kitchen. Turn off the main light. Then light a single warm lamp, or a candle on the counter. Notice how the room feels different. The edges soften, the air feels calmer. That's yin energy rebalancing yang, the emotional exhale your home has been waiting for. And when you bring that gentle balance into your daily space, you're not just decorating, you're healing. Mirror lesson from the rich. There's a reason why luxury homes in Aspen, Napa, or Palm Springs invest so heavily in lighting design. They know that wealth doesn't shout, it glows. The rich aren't simply buying fancy fixtures. They're buying energy mood management. Every light temperature, every color tone, every reflective surface is curated to keep their home emotionally supportive, not visually loud. And here's the truth. You don't need millions to do the same. You just need awareness to treat light and color as conversation partners, not background props. Light and color shape the mood of your home. But the shape of your space, that's what determines whether energy can actually flow. And nowhere is that more critical than in your kitchen. The heart of transformation, where energy becomes nourishment, and nourishment becomes abundance. There's an old Feng Shui saying, the way you move in your kitchen is the way energy moves through your life. Up triangle: the secret geometry of the kitchen triangle. Most American designers talk about the kitchen work triangle. You've probably heard of it. Stove, sink, refrigerator. the three main points of activity. But Feng Shui sees this triangle not as a workflow, but as a map of energy movement. Each point carries a different elemental force. The stove, fire, wealth, creativity, and action. The sink, water, emotion, cleansing, and adaptability. The fridge, metal plus water, storage, preservation, and resources. When these points are balanced and the flow between them is natural, energy cycles smoothly, like a well-tuned engine. But when they clash, collide, or stand too far apart, prosperity begins to leak. Gear when flow becomes friction. Let me tell you about Mark and Lisa, a couple from Austin, Texas. They'd renovated their dream kitchen, Marble Island, top-of-the-line appliances, even a wine fridge. Yet, Mark told me, "We barely cook anymore. The kitchen feels exhausting." When I visited, it made sense. Their stove was at one end of the room, the sink at the other, and the fridge was tucked behind a tall pantry door, hidden and hard to reach. That triangle wasn't a triangle at all, it was a zigzag. Every meal meant walking in circles. Every motion broke the rhythm. In Feng Shui terms, Kai, the life force, had to struggle just to complete a loop. And when energy has to struggle, humans feel it as fatigue, disconnection, or even financial blockages. Cyclone fixing the flow. Here's what we did. Without changing the structure, Lisa added a prep station between the stove and the sink. A wooden island, representing the wood element that bridges fire and water. Then we moved the refrigerator so the 3 points formed a soft triangular motion. Not sharp angles, not too tight, just enough that you could move in one gentle circle while cooking. 2 weeks later, Lisa emailed me. "It's strange, we've started cooking together again. It feels fun." When flow returns to space, harmony returns to people. And that harmony is the first currency of wealth. Straight ruler, the golden rules of Feng Shui flow. 1. Keep the triangle clear. Don't place trash cans, tall cabinets, or heavy furniture in between the stove, sink, and fridge. These act like energy blockers. 2. Mind the distance. Each leg of the triangle should be between 4 to 9 feet. Too close, energy overheats. Too far, it disperses. 3. Add earth in the center. A small island or round rug in neutral tones, beige, clay, or light brown, grounds the energy, symbolically stabilizing wealth. 4. Maintain equal respect. The stove, fire, shouldn't dominate the entire triangle. Balance it with water and metal so action always stays supported by reflection and planning. 5. Flow clockwise. Arrange your movements naturally clockwise. Fire right pointing arrow, water right pointing arrow, storage right pointing arrow, fire. It mirrors the cycle of creation in Feng Shui, nurturing, cleansing, storing, and regenerating. Warning: common mistakes in American kitchens. Oversized islands. They look luxurious but often cut the energy triangle in half. If your island blocks movement, place a bowl of fruit, earth energy, or a plant, wood, to soften and reconnect the flow. Refrigerator in isolation. Many modern designs hide fridges behind panels. Feng Shui says, what's hidden becomes forgotten. That includes food and, symbolically, opportunities. Keep your fridge accessible, clean, and well lit. Stove facing a door. This one's big. If your stove faces the kitchen entrance, It's said that wealth energy leaves as it arrives. Remedy? Add a half partition, potted plant, or even a soft rug to slow energy before it hits the stove directly. Compass, the symbolism of movement. Here's something few people realize. Feng Shui is a philosophy of movement, not stillness. When you cook, your hands, eyes, and breath form a choreography. The way you turn, stir, rinse, and reach, it's a daily meditation of flow. If the space supports you, it feels effortless. If it resists you, you carry that resistance into the rest of your day, your work, your relationships, even your health. So when we talk about the geometry of prosperity, we're not just talking about where things go. We're talking about how you move through your life. Speech balloon, a lesson from the rich. Luxury homes in Beverly Hills or Malibu often follow this triangle naturally. They call it spatial choreography. Every step is intuitive, the fridge within reach, the sink aligned but not opposing the stove, lighting layered for depth. It's not just aesthetics, it's a subconscious luxury. Because true wealth isn't about having more. It's about fighting less with your environment. The rich don't waste energy battling their space. Their space feeds them energy. We've talked about geometry, flow, and light. How every shape and color in your kitchen carries energy. But even the most beautiful layout can lose its life force. When clutter takes over, when the air feels heavy, when objects carry memories that no longer serve you, the soul of your space starts to whisper for help. That's what Feng Shui calls stagnant Kai. And if you've ever walked into a kitchen that felt tired, not dirty, just emotionally stuck, you've felt it too. Wind face, the energy you can't see, but always feel. A home holds emotions. Every conversation, every meal, every moment of stress or laughter. It lingers, like invisible smoke. In Feng Shui, we believe your kitchen remembers. If there's too much noise, clutter, or neglect, the space stops breathing. And when your kitchen stops breathing, the energy that feeds health and abundance starts to decay. It's not superstition, it's emotional resonance. Think of it like this. You can't see Wi-Fi, but you know when the signal's weak. Energy works the same way. Broom step 1. The sacred art of decluttering. Let me tell you about Patricia, a retired teacher in Denver. She loved cooking but said she no longer felt joy in her kitchen. It just feels sad, she told me. When I visited, I noticed. Her counters were covered with appliances she rarely used. Old spices expired years ago. Plastic containers missing lids. Every shelf filled with things that once meant something, but now just trap the past. We started small, one drawer at a time. She held each item and asked a simple question. Does this still help me create joy? If the answer was no, we thanked it and let it go. After 2 days, the kitchen looked lighter. After a week, she looked lighter. She said, "It's funny, I thought I was cleaning my kitchen, but it feels like I cleaned my heart." That's the deeper truth of decluttering. It's not about tidiness, it's about emotional permission to breathe again. Warning: common mistakes Americans make. 1. Keeping, just in case, items. The blender you haven't used in 3 years. The mug from an ex. These objects carry stagnant emotional energy. Letting them go creates space for new experiences to arrive. 2. Overdecorating the counters. A kitchen covered in trinkets blocks both physical and energetic flow. Keep surfaces open, they symbolize opportunity. 3. Ignoring expired food. Feng Shui sees spoiled or forgotten food as decayed kai, a metaphor for stuck wealth or neglected self-care. Refresh your pantry every full moon, it resets the vibration of abundance. Fire Step 2. Energy cleansing rituals. Decluttering clears the body of the space. Now it's time to cleanse its spirit. You don't need incense or mysticism, though you can use them if it feels right. Here are simple, grounded methods that work beautifully in American homes. 1. Sound clearing. Clap your hands, ring a small bell, or play soft chimes as you walk clockwise around the kitchen. Sound breaks up stagnant kai. It's the acoustic version of fresh air. 2. Salt and citrus ritual. Place a bowl of sea salt and lemon slices on your counter overnight. Salt absorbs heavy energy, lemon renews life force. In the morning, throw them away outside, never down the sink. 3. Open windows and burn light. Let sunlight and air in for at least 15 minutes a day. Light represents yang energy, movement, clarity, rebirth. 4. Intentional scent. Cinnamon, orange, and rosemary are fire-based scents, perfect for activating wealth and vitality energy. Use them in candles or essential oils. Herb Step 3. Renewal, setting the intention. Now that your kitchen is clean and alive, you need to teach it how to serve your new energy. In Feng Shui, intention is the programming language of space. Here's a simple ritual, and it's one I often share with clients before the Lunar New Year. Light a small candle in the center of your kitchen. Take 3 deep breaths. Then say quietly, "May this space nourish health, harmony, and abundance for all who enter." It's not about the words, it's about your presence. Your home listens when you speak to it. Speech balloon, a lesson from the rich. If you walk into the kitchen of a wealthy family in Beverly Hills, Napa Valley, or Greenwich, you'll notice something subtle. It's not just organized, it feels calm. That's not luck, it's discipline. They don't allow clutter to pile up because they understand. Chaos outside becomes chaos inside. Many even schedule seasonal energy resets, where the family declutters, donates, and replaces old items with fresh ones. It's a ritual of renewal, a physical act that mirrors emotional clarity. That's what keeps wealth circulating. Movement, gratitude, and conscious release. Mirror psychology meets Feng Shui. Modern research backs this up. Neuroscientists at Princeton University found that clutter literally competes for your attention. It reduces focus, increases stress hormones, and dulls creativity. So yes, cleaning your kitchen can literally clear your mind. When you remove excess, you amplify purpose. And purpose is what turns energy into abundance. There's something almost poetic about the way a home breathes. You can feel it when you walk in, whether it's heavy and tired, or light and quietly alive. The same kitchen that once echoed with arguments can, with time and care, become the warm heart of a family again. But Feng Shui, as the old masters said, isn't a one-time act. It's not like hanging a lucky charm and walking away. It's a living relationship. Energy, kai, flows, pauses, gathers, and fades depending on what we do every day. So if you've rearranged your kitchen, balanced the fire and water, softened the lights, even opened your windows to welcome the morning sun, congratulations. But now comes the real art. keeping that energy alive. 1. The morning ritual. Waking the fire gently. In many American homes, mornings begin with a rush, coffee brewing, phones buzzing, kids grabbing toast on the run. But energy doesn't respond well to chaos. In Feng Shui, the stove represents the fire of fortune. When it's awakened gently, it burns steadily all day, attracting clarity, motivation, and wealth. One woman in Oregon, named Sarah, shared a beautiful habit she learned from her grandmother. Every morning, before turning on her stove, she lights a single candle and whispers, "Today, may this kitchen feed both body and soul." It takes 10 seconds. But over the years, she said that small act changed how she felt about cooking, money, and even how her family interacted around food. That's the secret. The ritual isn't about religion. It's about presence. When you greet your space, it greets you back. 2. The evening reset. Letting energy rest. Many people think cleaning is purely practical, a chore to check off before bed. But to the Feng Shui eye, cleaning is spiritual. When you wipe a counter, you're not just removing crumbs, you're clearing stagnant chi. Before going to sleep, take 3 minutes to reset your kitchen. Wipe the stove top and leave it dry. Empty or cover the trash can. Let the space sleep clean. A famous Feng Shui consultant once said, "If you sleep while your kitchen sleeps peacefully, your wealth sleeps safely too." It's not superstition, it's psychology. When you wake to a fresh space, your subconscious sees order, and that's exactly what you'll attract during the day. 3. The sound and scent loop. Quiet music. Natural fragrance. Energy isn't only visual, it vibrates in sound and scent. Too many American homes hum with refrigerator buzz, microwave dings, and phone pings, all low-frequency noise that exhausts our nervous system. Try this instead. Keep a playlist of soft acoustic or piano tunes for weekend mornings. Simmer a pot of citrus peels, cloves, and cinnamon while cooking. These frequencies and aromas lift the vibration of space. In Feng Shui, citrus scents invite clarity and abundance. Cinnamon symbolizes warmth and prosperity. They remind the subconscious that this is a place of joy, not rush. 4. Gratitude in action. Feeding the flow. Here's something many forget. Gratitude moves energy faster than any cure or charm. Each time you prepare food, you are engaging in a sacred act of creation. It's where raw materials turn into nourishment, literally alchemy. Some wealthy families in California practice a subtle custom. Before their first bite, they simply touch their plate and think, "Thank you for this energy." That's it. No prayer, no religion, just awareness. When gratitude becomes a rhythm, the kitchen turns from a work zone into a blessing zone. 5. The weekly renewal. 1 hour for flow. Once a week, choose one small, energy corner to reset. Maybe it's the fridge, maybe the pantry, maybe that drawer of forgotten coupons and takeout menus. Throw out what's expired, physically and emotionally. There's an old Feng Shui saying, "When food rots unseen, fortune does too." Decluttering isn't just aesthetics, it's emotional hygiene. You're sending a message, "I'm ready for fresh energy." 6. The unseen lesson. How ritual builds reality. Here's what most people miss. It's not the candle, or the citrus, or even the cleaning. It's the intention behind them. Rituals create consistency. Consistency creates stability. And stability attracts abundance, not just financial, but emotional. A kitchen with stable energy becomes a magnet for connection, creativity, and trust. Families eat together more often. Conversations soften. Decisions get clearer. That's the magic of Feng Shui when practiced daily. It stops being Chinese decor tips and becomes a philosophy of mindful living. 7. Closing reflection. From space to spirit. Think back to Isabella, from our first story, the woman whose kitchen transformed her fortune. She didn't win the lottery. She didn't find some secret formula. She simply learned how to live with energy, to honor it, tend to it, and let it tend to her in return. Maybe that's what true abundance is. Not a number in your bank account, but the quiet confidence that your space, your kitchen, your home, is on your side. So tonight, before you turn off the lights, take one slow breath in your kitchen. Feel the air, the silence, the gentle pulse of the room that feeds your life. That's energy, alive, listening, and waiting to serve you again tomorrow.